Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday Live. We are here with John Willis from Special Operations Equipment, Jack Spirko from the Survival Podcast. I'm Nicole Sauce from Living Free in Tennessee, and we were just chatting about gyms, and it made me think, I don't know, sometime in the last 5 years or so, the Marine Corps reduced the barrier to entry by changing the pull-up rule for women.
Okay.
And I was going to a CrossFit gym at that time, watching women do 100 pull-ups.
Yeah.
Going, well, this is baloney because I know women who can pull up just fine. So what do you guys think of that one? Let's start there.
They changed the entry barrier for men too. There's no longer sir nor ma'am. The Marine Corps has gotten rid of the 8541 program. There is no snipers in the Marine Corps anymore.
What?
It's absolutely insane, the crazy shit that's going on inside the Marine Corps right now.
Whoa. Rewind for me here a second.
Yeah,
There's
true.
no snipers in the Marine Corps?
Yeah, they've been absorbed into reconnaissance, I guess, is how they're doing it. So
they still have people doing the job. They just don't designate them snipers.
Yeah, but they're doing away with sniper school altogether.
So they're not like, because the Army did all the snipers training, so they're not sending them there for that anymore or anything?
No, the Marine Corps has always done their own sniper school.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Jeff.
I thought it was like airborne.
No, Scully was the NCOIC at Scout Sniper School for 3 years over on the West Coast.
Huh.
I don't know. I just thought it was baloney because, like, there's a reason there's a physical fitness test. And I'm pretty sure it's because when you're out there and there's live fire and you got to get everybody somewhere, they have to be physically capable of doing that, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
I mean, we're letting them take cell phones now in the field with them, right?
Yeah.
They have cell phones standing on the yellow lines on parade. They have fucking cell phones, right? There's all kind. It's just absolutely.
They would have killed us for that. We didn't even. There were no cell phones, but if there were, we because Thad Nicole, who comes to the workshops. He was a DI for like 2 cycles, and he was like, my office is full of cell phones and PlayStations, all kinds of shit that he took from guys because he was an AIT drill. And I'm like, they have that shit? He goes, yeah, they have to fuck up for me to take it from them. And I'm like, I don't understand any of this. I don't consider myself that old. Like, I was in the Army in the early 90s. Like, none of this makes any sense to me. I don't get it.
It's super woke. It's like it's being destroyed from within the end. Like there's an incentive for it.
Yeah.
I think we saw that when they did 2 things. One, they pushed out so many people over that stupid clot shot. But before that, they were basically pulling in senior NCOs and mid-tier officers, like field grade officers, like majors, lieutenant colonels, and telling them, we're going to go through everybody's this is after Biden took over, everybody's social media, like something as simple as having like pro-Trump stuff on your social media could get you thrown out of the military. They threw absolutely nobody out for it. But I had this confirmed from multiple people, senior NCOs, majors, a captain in the Navy that lives down the road from me, and they were all like, they're going to throw me out. They're going to throw me out. And like, I'd say a third of those guys, rather than be thrown out, resigned and left on their own. So they were purging because that mid-tier leadership, like what the general says doesn't mean shit unless the general shows up. What your sergeant first class says, that fucking matters. What your colonel says or your freaking captain of your company says, that matters. And they got rid of the hardcore guys at that level. It's disgusting, and it's probably on some level a ploy to get back into the universities to recruit, at least on some level, I think, because they were thrown out. Like the recruiters have been like pushed out of universities.
Well, I mean, who ran things at the field level, right? Master guns, or and there are none of those old crusty Vietnam guys, right? None of those hard chargers are there anymore. They've literally pushed. I mean, Vietnam. They were still kind of barely hanging on, but there is no like replacement for those guys. I mean, who was most apt not to take the thing, right? People who were also apt to uphold the Constitution and the oath that they took. So they were able to push those out, and they've been replaced with what? They've been replaced with yes men. They've been replaced with Kool-Aid hair and crazy, and it's everywhere, man. The people. I was just doing my job. Who's more apt to, follow those lines? The people who are now in power.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, so I'm 51 this year. I was in from 89 to 93. So a 40-year-old dude is an old man in the military. So like your old crusty guys are in their 40s at best. And those guys are the exact guys they pushed out. Most of them are like in their late 20s, early 30s. You're already considered an old dude. You're 32 in the Army. You're an old man. You know, I mean, really, I know it doesn't sound like it makes sense, but when all the guys that work for you are 18, 19, 20 years old and you're 32, like you're like their dad.
Yep. And the Marine Corps is even younger.
Yeah. Yeah, they push people out of Marine Corps before all this because it's such a small branch that there's only so much room as you advance. So, like, it's really competitive. And they'll come up with reasons to get rid of guys if they can't – like, instead of QMP, which is a quality management program, they might call it something different now, like the gay management program or something. I don't know. But, like, there's a formula for doing it. But from guys I talked to that served in the Marine Corps, there's, like, ways around it that can speed it up to get rid of guys.
It just chews them up. Like a lot of guys go in and have no idea what they're doing, right? Guys get there and they want to, make it a life. And then kids get in there as an escape. Like Joel Salatin had said, he set in, he went to, I don't remember what meeting it was, some government meeting.
It was some FDA thing, and it was
about
food and shit.
USDA.
And they were recruiting from small town for FFA, and they used to recruit from the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts was training kids to be military personnel. So out here in the middle of nowhere, they say that the IQs are lower, and that's the escape from the town. So they get them. That's what you do here. You want a DNA job, which is you work for Tennessee Valley Authority for wildlife, or you work for the power plant, or you go in the military to escape, right? It used to be the dream that you would go to LA and go to Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
That's not the dream anymore.
Well, and
I know a lot of people do that to get their 20 years in and then retire. They've got a pension I know guys who made it there though, who are like younger than me, retired.
Yeah.
And they are just torn up, but that's what they did.
So we've got our mutual friend Thad again. He is the youngest E8 in the Army right now. He's also one of the last guys on that 20-year plan. And he's in what's called the trap. He's at like 13 years. So he could retire at 20. But what they're going to do is they're going to offer him sergeant major at some point close to his termination date. And if he turns it down, they'll throw him out with nothing. And if he accepts it, it'll take 2 years to get in the Sergeant Major Academy. Then it's 2 years to an appointment. Then it's a 4-year commitment. So he could end up having to do 26 to 27 years under that old retirement program. Yeah. So this is part of why people ask me, like, Jack, you're so proud of your service. It did so much for you. Why do you say young people shouldn't join today? Well, that and all this other shit. Like, this is not the military I was in.
It's just being used as a political tool is what it is. And as is everything. Hey, guys, just a reminder, hit that like and follow, and make sure if you're on one of our channels, go to the other channels and give us a subscribe. There's Special Operations Equipment, the Survival Podcast, and Living Free in Tennessee. Let's get some cross-promotion going here, but also do not piss off the Ika Mouse. You do not want an angry Ika Mouse. Her wrath is fierce and terrible. Hit the like and subscribe and all of that. Also, if you've got something you want to hear us talk about, put your questions in all caps. And we have one in the door. Did you see that grunt who in-deft? Unreal, in my humble opinion. And it's from Ika Mouse herself.
Yes, I don't know what she's talking about.
Don't know what you're talking about.
I need further explanation on that one.
Yes.
I was on vacation for the last 2 weeks.
He has no idea what has happened in the world in the last 2 weeks.
It was blissful. It was blissful. I got up every day. I walked in the redwoods. It was freaking, you know what the temperature was? 50-something degrees. Always. Wake up, it's 50 degrees. Go to bed, it's 54 degrees. Most boring weather job on the planet would be NorCal. It was beautiful. And I got back. I did a show yesterday on, like, the insanity. Because I was like, holy crap, when I leave, like, banks go under. Like, all this crazy shit happens, right? Yeah. But I don't know.
There were shootings everywhere, all over the world.
Yeah. They that asshole shot some people on Saturday here in Texas, and right at the same time that's going on, another asshole drives through a crowd of people at a bus station, kills the exact same number of people. We have to do something about AR-15s, but fuck cars, right? It's like, They wouldn't be able to. This guy just did it. He's also illegally in the country, And then our shooter, right? He's a white supremacist, Hispanic. I don't know how that works.
Whose parents need a translator, and there's
a
bunch of videos of him jocked up in SS memorabilia with a bunch of social media Facebook pages which have no followers and no friends. So just these unlinked to anyone pages that the media has now pulled all these pictures up of, like, he has a big SS
but
tattoo.
No face.
No, correct. And even if he is, you think Aryan Brotherhood or any of those organizations are letting that dude in? No, they're not.
No, and so here's the other thing with this, right? So they're being selective if it's even true that he had all this shit, because he also was like fascinated with Jeffrey Dahmer and shit like that. So they're not like, hey, you know what? We have a real problem with serial killers, right? Like, it's just very, very selective. And I don't know the specifics, but there was a guy on Twitter yesterday saying the dude that found all this is the same guy that found the shit about the shooter on an obscure Discord. Same dude, right? And there's like some board run out of Russia that this guy's on, and he pointed it out, and that guy immediately banned him from that board.
Yeah, well, start unraveling that thread, right? That dude is probably also the dude that posted all those and works for the FBI.
Yeah, I think this is another instance of the FBI was working a guy and either let it happen or lost control, right? Yeah. Or some other alphabet, maybe ATF was working them. I don't know. But this just, everything about this stinks. And there was an interesting theory thrown out. I actually listened to an episode of Louder with Crowder, which I never do yesterday, because someone's like, after you talked about this, you need to listen to this because he's on the exact same train you are with this. But the one guy that's one of his co-hosts threw out a theory that I thought was really interesting. This guy was a security guard. They keep talking about him like he is a security guard, or was a security guard the day before this happened. He lost his job a couple years ago.
From the Army.
He lost that job. But he lost his security job. He was doing something else now when he was living with his parents. The security job was interim, okay? He lost that job, not sure why. He's supposedly a white supremacist. He lives in a part of the Dallas area where there are people of color everywhere. He drives 45 minutes to Allen. Allen is a very white, upscale suburb. There's lots of black people, Asian, whatever, but it's like 80% white people. So if you wanted to kill black people, Hispanics, illegal aliens, whatever, right out his door would be where to do it. He looked up the busiest time at this mall on his computer. They do know, at least they tell us that. Mm-hmm. The first person he shot was a security guard. He drives his car straight up to where this guard is, gets out, shoots him, and then starts shooting other people. Mm-hmm. And the guy said, I'm not saying there's a connection, but maybe that guy is somebody he worked with security in the past. Maybe he was a supervisor. Maybe he's why he got fired. And that was the hot button. And I don't, again, I'm not saying that's what happened, but it was interesting because it looked like he went straight at that dude. And then like, well, once it's off, then,
now it's game on.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I do know I do not trust a single thing coming out of the media ever, but really here. Something smells. They didn't have this dude's name till the next day. They usually have these shooters' names out like that quick. Like this all smells really bad.
I think everybody thinks that. Even the people that are on the other side, I don't think they believe it. They just
it's just useful for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just anytime there's a shooting, the standard is we need gun control. That's what you're supposed to do if you're a good leftist. And that's what all my friends who are leftists did. Oh, it's not the guns, guys. It's psychological stuff. They get all sarcastic about it. Yeah. And then they go on and I'm like, well, I've heard of some pretty terrible killings with knives and cars and other things in places where there's heavy gun control. So why don't we talk about why people are incited to taking that kind of action right now?
Did you just say friends that are leftists?
Yeah.
Yeah, those aren't friends, Nicole, because they would disarm you. Think about that. Be careful.
Legacy associates.
Those are acquaintances because
legacy associates.
Yeah, because they would take your shit away and leave you undefenseless.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Okay,
if I wanted to steal your shit, you wouldn't consider me a friend.
That's a good point. Ika Mouse has gone on to try to explain, and I think I'm getting the gist of it now. Somebody was indefinitely re-enlisted by the sergeant major of the Army. I'm gonna guess not with their willingness.
No.
I'm not sure. So I don't know.
Because it happened to me temporarily.
We have a friend.
Yeah.
We have a friend that was in the community, and he was sent to war college. He's in 35 years right now. They will not separate him and let him out of the Army.
Yeah.
So indefinite extension is exactly what it sounds like. They just say that you are extended indefinitely. We don't know when you can get out. And since the recruiting is dog shit, and since a lot of senior leadership they purged, now you don't, without your E6s, E7s, everything goes to fuck. Okay. Yeah. These are your supervisors. These are like, if you think of it as a factory, these are like your line supervisors, right? And stuff like that make sure everything happens. They're the ones that do all the paperwork. They're the ones that run a motor pool, that run a supply chain, etc. So what they've done then is say anybody staff sergeant, which is E6 or higher, you're definitely suspended. When I was in and the Gulf War started, that happened to everybody Army-wide and probably all the services. So you get your leave and earning statement, your pay stub, basically. And it says, it says every time you get it, it says your ETS date. You always look at that and go, yeah, I get the fuck out of here. Indefinite. And they said, don't worry about it. As soon as the war is over, it'll be fine. And it ended up that it was true because it was that war and it lasted like a week. But this is not going to be short term. This is like a pseudo draft. Yeah. Like you fulfilled your contract, but you ain't leaving. And that's always a risk when you join the military, by the way. They'll say it's only 2 years or 4 years or whatever. Bullshit. And the more valuable your skill set is, so they've done this before. During the first Gulf War, they recalled dudes and they waived physical requirements because they needed them so bad. So we had the new Patriot missile systems, and they didn't have enough people trained on how to use them. There was a prior missile air defense system that it only required like 2 weeks to get a guy that knew that up to speed on the Patriots. So they recalled a shitload of and these guys were like, I don't even know where they had the BDUs for. I mean, they were like out, like looked half pregnant and shit, carrying a bag of donuts and all. And they waived. They didn't have to do PT. They didn't have to do anything. All they had to do was man their stations and not freaking scuds down. That's all they had to do. And as soon as it was over, they cut them loose. But these were guys. They have a job. They're in their 40s. They have kids. And got a letter in the mail. Go to war, go to jail. Like that's always a risk. And they were past their there is a when you join, a minimum was, I don't know what it is now, was 8 years. Yeah. And there's something called IRR, which is individual ready reserve. Yes. So even after you're out, while you're in that window, you can be recalled for any reason at any time. These guys were past their IRR. Some of these guys hadn't been in the service in 15 years. Yeah, they can still call you back. Yep. That's something it would be good to know before you enlist. Yeah. They don't tell you that at the recruiting station. Promise. No, they don't. They tell you. They actually told me, and it didn't work because I didn't believe them. Okay. They told me that because they were like, hey, you need to join the Air Force. And I was like, no, I don't. I don't think I'm very good at taking orders. And they said, no, you'll be an officer. You don't have to take orders. And my bullshit meter went up. I was like, I don't think that's how the military works. And I decided to go to a liberal college and become a communist instead.
This happened in college? This was a recruiter?
That happened in high school. So my last year of high school, I got a lot of calls from the Air Force specifically because my dad had been in the Air Force. And they really wanted me to enlist. And I would have ended up in the Gulf War, actually.
You know where that doesn't happen at?
Where?
That doesn't happen at homeschool.
Right. I was not homeschooled. And
I know. That's public. That's what I'm saying. Public school.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Next question. 42 issue at the border. Thoughts on supposed border surge in a few days?
They're ready. Here it comes.
I think we have it. It's every 6 months. We always have it, right? But the real question is how many combat age males not from Mexico are already in the United States, and where are those pockets of those people at? Because they're here. They've been here.
Okay, Jack, how is the Grow Noster initiative doing?
It's doing...
it's exploding.
It's doing really well, better than I envisioned. And I want to see more people jump on there. Noster's really growing. And I actually have an episode that'll be out of my show that will go live at 11:30 today with Guy Swan, the guy who's read more about Bitcoin than any other person you know. And we're going to be talking about Noster and its future rather than Bitcoin specifically. And I don't know. To me, if you have a network developing of active, intelligent, communicating people that has an integrated payments system in it already, that might be something you want to be part of. And my issue has been the one thing people have shoved back at me is, but it's all Bitcoin content. And to a degree, they were right. So I created the Grow Noster Initiative. And so anything you post that's not Bitcoin related, we ask that you add the hashtag Grow Noster to it. And follow that hashtag, check that hashtag out every day, make some comments, make some connections every day. And what we're seeing is people that just never had any followers, you know, like you look at their Twitter account, they have like 12. You know, they have 200-300 followers now. And so what we're trying to do is grow the network edge effect. I'd rather have 2,000 people following me that each have 200 people following them and have a network of 400,000 that way than have 400,000 direct followers. And the reason is I care what my network's saying, but I can't go through that much content. But if I effectively have 200 curators on that second level that are only reposting and shit, the stuff that like is cool because of our connection, I get a lot higher quality content, a lot more interaction, a lot more people to follow back. And I don't know, it's doing well. And I'm, knocking down about 100,000 Satoshis a week in Zats.
Plus those are real people, right? I have 700,000 on Facebook. When I make a post, I get an engagement with maybe 300, 400, 500 on a good day, right? But I can pay to get more engagement. It's so throttled back, whereas that's all real right now. It's real organic.
Yeah, it is. And it will always be because so it's not a site. Like if you go to Noster.com, I don't know what you'll find, but you won't find what you're looking for probably. If you go to Nosterhow.com, I think it's Nosterhow.com. I'm not sure if it's .com, but Nosterhow.
Oh, I'll look it up.
It'll tell you all the things you need to know to get started. But Noster, think of Noster like email or HTTP. It's a protocol. And so what we think of as apps or websites become clients. So I might use Outlook. John might use Thunderbird. Nicole might use, I don't know what she uses. I know you don't do this, but she might use Gmail. It doesn't matter what client you use to access the email protocol. We can all send each other emails and it's uncensorable, right? And if somebody like Gmail starts being a dick, then Nicole can just take her address book and use a different email service, which if she's using Gmail, she should. Well, Noster's like that on steroids because, there's Twitter clones built on it. But like we just added to the site, we're still playing with it, Noster Chat, which will allow people to have like private TSP chats through my website, but it's actually through the Noster protocol. There's a site called Blogstack, and it's basically a replacement for Substack. And the phrase I came up for this is one key pair in your tribe is everywhere. So anywhere you go, you instead of a username and a password, you have a public and a private key, kind of like Bitcoin. You stick that in, and all of your people are still connected to you. Now, some of it's cross-platform. The stuff that's Twitter clones, if you're on, let's say, Snort, and I'm on Iris, I'll see what you post, you see what I. The Blogstack stuff's a little bit different, but anybody that wants to use that site simply connects to it. And if you're already connected, then you're connected. So this is completely uncensorable. You can't stop it. And then the best thing is it has payments integrated into it. So, when Elon took over Twitter, he's like, he's going to integrate Bitcoin or Doge or some stupid shit. Jack Mahler's is like, he doesn't want to do it because if he did want to do it, we could do it in 15 minutes for him.
Right.
And he's like, I totally will. And I won't even charge him for it. Right. So, they're just dicking around with it. Noster, you get on there, you want to sell something, you can generate invoices. John, you could sell your gear on there. And I mean, put it in the feed. Somebody pays you for it instantly. And you could do shit like if you have like a one-off, whoever buys it first gets it. It's like an auction, but you set the floor. Or you set the price instead of the floor, right?
Yeah. Hey, what's the app you use on iPhone?
I use Damus on iPhone, which to my
understanding is DAMUS?
Is the real DAMUS. Yeah, I use Damus. Most people on Droid use Amethyst.
Yeah.
That's what I put on.
And then there's a bunch of stuff that's browser-based, and they all have different value sets to me at this point as people start building. The coolest one, but it's just missing key features right now because it's not even really being publicly pushed yet. It's called Primal.
Okay.
Primal.net. And the cool thing there is you can go into the Explore tab, and you have all different ways of accessing your network, like what's trending in your total network, what's trending in your tribe, what's trending in your direct follows, what's trending globally. Or there's all kinds of ways you can feed it. You can see all kinds of stats on the network. See who's trending, and woohoo, I'm there today. But you can't DM on it yet, and you can't add images. So I use it for content discovery. I use Snort mostly, but then sometimes I'll flip over to Iris. So that's the beauty. If like one of the clients this is all beta shit, right? So if one of the clients is acting up, you just use a different client. You still have access.
Yeah.
And use Albi for your browser-based shit. Yeah. Use Albi as your wallet. Generate your private and public key in Albi. And when you connect to like any of these sites, a little thing will pop up for Albi. You just say, I authorize this site, and boom, everything is on that particular viewpoint.
I think it gets confusing for people who haven't been there to hear all of these words come out. And the way I like to think of it is that it starts with the app on the phone, or it starts with what website I'm using on my computer. And so if you're going to use Damus or Amethyst on your phone and get signed up, just know that you're going to be given a public and a private key. And if anybody gets that private key, just like if you had a Bitcoin wallet with a private key, you have just given them the keys to everything.
Yes.
And that's why Jack says use Albi, because when you link payments to it, that helps add a layer. Yep. Nostr.how has a lot of different things explained. And in the TSP and LFTN communities, there are a couple people really active who are willing to answer your questions on Telegram and other places as you're going through it. So if you're like, but wait, Nicole said, or Jack said that thing about saving my private key, I can't remember what they said. They will talk you through it on the forums. So, and then you're done.
That's why
and then you can zap them some sats for helping you.
That's why I recommend using Albi, because it manages your key pair.
Yeah.
And if you're using a mobile app, then you can go in and grab your private key out of Albi, out of your account. And all you'll have to do is enter that on that client that's on the mobile side. But everything browser-based, the clients will never touch your private key. It's all managed, which Albi is very stable and trustworthy at this point. It's been around a long time. I've been using it to take tips on my website and YouTube channel for 3 years. So if they were going to steal, they'd have stole.
And like, how much do you leave there to be stoled?
Oh yeah. Like once I hit like 100,000 sats, I would draw 50 and I start zapping the shit out of people. Pretty much my philosophy with these ecosystems like Nostr is half of what I get zapped, I put in my stack, and half I push back in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Permaculture.
Well, so I'm just finding out John Willis is on there, and somehow I haven't accidentally found him yet. Well, I did some sales on there, Jack. I found it pretty clunky from a management standpoint. So I'm experimenting with some tools to get it into my POS, which would make me way happier.
Are you there as really tactical, or are you there as
John?
I don't know. I set it up and I've never used it. I was looking on my phone when you started talking about it to see which app I loaded.
Yeah.
And I remember it was Amethyst, but I don't even see it on here.
Yeah, you know what? If you haven't used it yet, start over. Use Albi to generate your key pair.
Yeah.
And then set up a mobile app.
Because and hang and live laundry, it's Albi, ALBY.
Yeah. Because if you go to a mobile app first and set it up there, and then you use Albi, you're gonna have two key pairs, two separate key pairs, and two separate feeds that you're generating. You won't be unified.
You don't want that.
Yeah. Think of it like Twitter, and your username is your pub key, and your password is your private key. But then if you think of it, if Twitter and Facebook were just clients, then you could go to Facebook, enter that username and password, or public and private key, and then you would bring your followers with you, and you'd be able to communicate cross-platform, which is impossible because they don't want that. But with Nostr, there is no platform. Client protocol.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you who really got me going was Renegade Butcher and Brian from Lots Project. So, John, I bet either one of those guys would get you set up in a good way. ALBY.
Yeah. I'll get the link in there.
Yeah. So But that's who kind of I was like, okay, I'm like having old lady brain right now, and somehow I'm not getting this connection. And he'd be like, well, just do this, Nicole, and I would just do it. And once I got it was like 20 minutes of my time. It was not that much.
I'll put it out on everybody's live chat.
Yeah. There you go. GetLB.com.
Cool.
So what I like about any emerging social media network is you have more real conversations there at first.
Mm-hmm.
Because they haven't figured, like the bot creators haven't figured out how to abuse it. And you have less of that. I have like the spam problem early on. Until you have the spam problem, I've only had to block one person so far that was a spam issue. And that's pretty good for an emerging network that doesn't have filters
like that. But there's a block feature, and
yeah,
I think the thing that excites me is that, like, instead of having one central authority deciding what features you get or don't get, you have all these independent devs, and some of them are deving clients, not even out of like, I'm going to have a business and make money. Some of them are doing it like out of just like, I want to be the guy, like they're hackers, right? So they're like, I want to be the guy that devs the best platform. So you have all this collaboration that's open source. So as you get a problem, you have 20 different client groups that are devs for those clients seeking a solution to that problem. And once one implements that solution and it works, since it's open source, then those other client development groups can just grab that and implement it into their code set. So you get a much more rapid advancement of features, and you get a much more rapid advancement of like dealing with problems. And so when somebody gets on there right now, like you said, the interface for selling is kind of clunky. And it is. We got to remember, this thing's a year old.
Yeah.
Nostr I don't remember what day it was. It had its 1-year birthday. And so you're in something that is like, it's not even alpha. It's like pre-alpha, let alone beta. And so there's going to be things like that, but you're going to see much quicker development because now everybody's racing. So now you have real competition. So it's not Twitter competing with Facebook. Everybody's using the same shit, but everybody's trying to have the most stable, most advanced platform.
Yeah. Well, now they have like verbal chat rooms. Have you tried those?
Nostr Nests.
Nostr Nests. Yeah, I'm gonna mess with that soon.
I am too.
I set it up and I was like, well, there's nobody here because I haven't told anybody I'm here, so this is dumb. I need to schedule a talk.
I need to like tie into some people already doing them and go on as like a guest or something, because if I'm going to do that, I might as well do a podcast.
Yeah.
Like what would excite me is like some sort of integrated video platform with Nostr, with RMTP, so that I could add that to my streaming set.
Yeah.
For something like this. And that will like all the shit. And like Jack Dorsey put out a thing on Jack's a huge advocate of Nostr, by the way. He just gave like $5 million to Nostr development. And actually 10, but like 5 specifically, like with earmarks to what it needs to do. And he was like, remember, when you're asking for shit, these are all people that work essentially for free. Mm-hmm. And maybe you should learn to dev, and maybe you should learn to build shit, and maybe you should start contributing instead of just asking.
Or maybe you should tip them if they build it. A really big tip, not just 50 sats. Right.
That happens though, because like Will, I can't remember which client he developed. I think it's Damus. You can actually look and see, and he's well comped on the Zap side, and he should be. I've thrown him some sats, man, because you add a cool feature set. And I think on Amethyst, they started adding like color codes and little icons for different tags.
Oh yeah, Grow Nostr has a little
Grow
plan.
Nostr in that 2 days after we launched it, which is really badass.
Yeah.
But how do you get Twitter to do that?
You don't.
You don't. Yeah. Fuck Elon. He did some good things for Twitter, but he's a clown. I mean, the guy's a clown.
Okay. Moving on. What is your thoughts on the energy secretary saying rolling blackout will be coming? Didn't they say that last year too?
Yeah.
Cold, dark winter.
Yeah. I'm not worried about it. I'm in Texas. We have our own grid.
Well,
people can keep talking shit about the grid going down one time in fucking 60 years, but our grid is really fucking stable. Thank you, Bitcoin.
Just happen, right? How are you going to heat those off? And you'd be surprised if you went and just on the weekend, on Friday night, turn off the breaker. Don't tell your family you even did it, and then see how much that actually changes your life, right? What do most families do in the evening? Watch TV. It doesn't take shit for electricity to watch TV, right? We had power off for 10 days, We have a chest freezer and a refrigerator, and we ran a Honda 1000 Whisper Light at EU 1000.
Yeah.
We'd run the refrigerator for about 4 hours. We'd run the freezer for 4 hours. And the entertainment center all worked. And then in the evening when we went to bed, we plugged in 2 window AC units because it was in the middle of summer. And we ran those. And in the morning, we plugged the other back in. And that's what we did. And we did that for 10 days. And it didn't alter our life in any way.
Same. Back in 11, I think it was, we had that major ice storm came through. We ended up iced in 11 days without power. And we were a good 9 days. We couldn't leave because of where we lived. Like, you just weren't, like, if you could have left, but you probably would have died. So don't do that. And it turned out you wouldn't have gotten anywhere anyway because there were like 12 huge lodgepole pines across the road from the ice that they hadn't cleared out yet. And my neighbor came by when they finally cleared those, and he was going out with his chains and his 4-wheel drive and everything. And he like knocks on the door. We open the door, and he was checking to see if we needed anything.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there, and it was Christmas. We had a turkey on the freaking table, steaming gravy, the Christmas tree. We plugged the tree, and it was blinking. We didn't care. And I noticed he had a bunch of gas cans in the back of his truck. And I'm like, what's up with that? And he was out of gas for his generator. Yeah. So I gave him 4 empty gas cans. He thought I wanted gas. I'm like, no, just when they're empty, bring them back. I had plenty of gas. I didn't give 2 shits. And I knew we were getting power back probably the next day. So, but we ran a Big Buddy heater. We ran the fireplace, ran the generator, hooked up the digital, we had satellite for TV. We hooked that up. Like John's saying, we ran it was cold out, so if we really had to, we could have put shit outside. But we had a chest freezer and a regular fridge. We ran them both a couple hours a day, and that was, I didn't care.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. We just took a lot of my power off the grid a week ago.
Yeah.
And it was really funny because in the middle of my workshop, the electricity company texted me for the first time in 15 years and said, we have a planned outage at 10 p.m. in the middle of your workshop. So we had generator karaoke, and we had to actually test the system for the students. It actually made the workshop way better, that there was like that. It was like a reality TV show.
That's
your
awesome.
Power is going to be turned off at 10 p.m. Will the party go on? And so that's really, to me, I'm like, okay, whatever. I could do without electricity anyway, but now it's just like that much easier. And I've got, like, by the way, I have solar panels for sale for 10 more days. I've already pre-sold them to somebody else, but anybody who wants 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, less than 10, 460 watt solar panels, brand new, which means that you can use the tax write-off, and that's available, the tax credit. Hit me up, Nicole at livingfreeintennessee.com, because 10 days from now, all of them are going to hack my homestead, who designed my system and helped me implement it. So
awesome.
Now what's full retail for that system you put in? For normal Joe has to buy it right now. What's it cost?
It'd be so $5,000, not counting installation, is what it would be. You'd probably spend anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 for installation. So $5,000 to $10,000. I spent $4,500 on the parts alone. That is 30% tax credit. So if I pay more than $3,000 in taxes to the government this year, which I'm pretty sure I will, that comes off that tax bill. So I've essentially taken taxes I owe to the feds and put it into energy resilience in my house, which is, it's there. I might as well take advantage of it. And that includes any solar parts, battery storage, and building that you need to do to accommodate that. So if you need a better roof to hold up those panels, and that means you need a new roof, there's an argument. Talk to your tax advisor, but there's an argument for, I got to replace the roof first, and that's included in the cost.
Ooh, interesting little CPA advantage right there.
Right.
Good accountant.
I need to build a structure that holds these up, and it just so happens I can park my car under it.
I'm going to need a new roof soon.
Yeah,
can you run day-to-day normal day with power cut just off that solar as you normally would on a normal day right now?
I can for one building and my pump house, so not my house, because I'm running 2 houses and a roasting shack and some other things. So yes, that normal day-to-day, if power goes out is fine, and I can run an extension cord up here for lights for me if I want lights.
Yeah, you
my
probably
fridges. I'm still doing the rotating generator at that point.
So
I gotta.
What'll it take to scale that to cover the other? Just one more battery unit and a couple more panels?
I will put a second solar installation in my house here.
Got it. Okay.
That's big enough to run all the fridges and freezers. That's like but yeah, I've already got my roof aspect is perfect here. And I really thought about not selling those panels back to Sean and just doing the other 20 panels up here and done. The expensive part, like the panels are $275 each. If you buy those online, you have to buy a minimum of 10, and you're going to be paying about $290 before shipping.
Yeah.
Or you buy a whole pallet like I did, and it brings the cost down. That's why I'm able to do that if people pick them up. The expensive part is more the battery. Like half of my cost is the battery. But I bought the best battery I could buy that requires the least amount of maintenance and will last longest, because I could have put in like golf cart batteries, but why do that? Like long-term payoff for that is way better because they'll last forever. Not forever, but 10, 20 years, which is what I want.
So thanks
to the super sticker, K-Bonk.
I think K-Bonk went to each of our individual
and
popped us each $1.99 a piece. So thank you, dude.
Yeah.
I got a good power out thing while we were on vacation because I was in California. So of course, 10 days in California, the power's going to go out at least one of them. That's just how California works. They didn't know why. I think they stole it for the cities from the country basically for a while.
Yeah.
But so power goes off. I'm up early in the morning doing my email and shit, so it doesn't interfere with our vacation. The fan goes off. I'm like, what the fan go off? Okay, power's out. And I'm like, okay, there's a spring on the property we were on, which is where the water comes from. So there's probably no water. Turn the water on, it works. I'm like, okay, we got gas for the stove and all. I can still make coffee. Water works. I wonder how long it's going to work for. And so I go snooping around and I'm like, well, is the spring house up? And we're like a 3-story top little cottage thing at the top. I'm like, it would have to be pretty damn high for pressure to do this. So I sleuth out later the pump house, and there's 4 marine batteries in there. And there's power to it. The power is running a charger that's keeping the batteries topped up, and the batteries are running a 12-volt SureFlow pump that's providing water to the building. So however long those batteries would last would be how long you would have water for, but you don't run water constantly. So you probably have a couple days of have the convenience of water, maybe take a really quick shower type of thing. The water heater, gas, the little heater thing, gas. So like it wasn't, they didn't have a generator or nothing, because then you'd have to explain to your Vibro customer how to use a generator.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No, but you had water. You had, like, she had a whole thing in her book, like, there's a cooler stored here. Go get yourself ice if you need it at some point. She was kind of a prepper, but I guess when you live there, you kind of have to be.
Yeah. Well, the reason we started with my guest cabin and pump house was that the water keeps going. If the power goes out, I don't have to mess with it up here. Yeah. I just don't, and I have a solar water heater in the summer. So from 11 to 3 p.m. easily, you've got warm enough water that you're not even worried about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Water is a very important thing.
I'm going to say this. I want to give a plug for Sean Mills from Hack My Homestead. The reason I'm happy I worked with him is he came here 5 years ago, talked to me about my goals for it, and we've just done one project at a time. So I didn't have to do everything at one time. That just makes me a little bit more resilient. And it started by heating water off of electricity.
What we figured out we could do is take my rain catch, my 3,000 gallons of rain catch, which is on a DC pump.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was a power outage short term, we could just take a couple garden hoses, put them together, hook it up to the hose bib on the outside of the house and open it. And it's an on-demand pump. So it's not sitting there just pounding it. And so when you turn the faucet on, the pump kicks in, it pumps the rain catch water through the sinks.
I wonder if that would work here, because I've got thousands of gallons of water uphill here. I bet that would work here too.
It would.
Yeah, you could do that. What you have to do, though, when it comes back, since, your source is a bit sketchy, like purge your pipes, like run your water for a while, maybe take a couple extra showers, Don't be drinking it without putting it through a Berkey or something. But yeah, it was like, and I figured it out. Like it was a multi-day outage, and I figured out like it was one of my. It wasn't when we weren't without power. My well pump died, and I had to go like 3 days without a well pump. And I figured it out on the last day. And I'm gonna pretend that just didn't happen that way because it was so obvious. It was like just hook up to that, turn it the fuck on.
I think I was on that text message thing when you realized and you're like, ah.
Yeah, I think it was you and David. I'm like, fuck.
I just realized I didn't have to do with that water for 3 days.
Yeah, but it's simple, and
that's kind of funny how that works. So I don't know. I love building resilience one thing at a time instead of trying to do it all at once. I think a lot of times people get into sort of our space because they're afraid. And then they like their heads explode because it's like, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And you're like, I can't do it all. It's like, just do one. And when it's done, do the next one. And I know I'm terrible at the 1, 2, 3. I usually do 3 things at one time, but that's just how I work.
Man, these biodigesters are looking better and better.
We have somebody in our network with a biodigester for sale, John. So I should, if you're interested, I will link. It's Kerry from Strong Roots Resources. I think he has one for sale.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good, man. There's some great videos coming out of Africa. There's a company I tagged you yesterday, Nicole. There's a homesteading Instagram page out of Atlanta or right outside of Atlanta. And they have one, and they had interviewed a dude at a show. I tagged you, and then the company that actually manufactures reacted to the post. So I had tagged you on there and sent you a screenshot of it. So maybe we can get them out to SRF for that.
See if we can get into Self-Reliance Festival. Great idea. Gardens for Life it says, love these shows, educational, entertaining, and life-changing. The golden trifecta. Hey, guys, we're the golden trifecta today. Spreading the good news across the pond here in Ireland. Thank you for the paid comment. I don't know what those are called on YouTube. I should know the lingo better. Oh, nope. Strong Roots Resources already sold it. So, but he can tell you which one he got and why.
Yep.
That's a great tip too on the 5 there, because that's 5 euros.
Yeah,
euros. That's more than dollars, I think.
Probably now.
I don't know where we are right now.
Probably not anymore.
I mean, it could. Who knows?
No, I'm sure it's more than we are now.
Yeah. Inflation for the win, man.
Yeah, FTW.
So on the biodigester, I've always been fascinated with those. When we moved in here and we redid our kitchen, I took the old gas stove out because it was like this crappy, cheap white gas stove. And I put it out in my shop, and I was going to build one and like do as an outdoor thing with be able to can out there or whatever. And I ended up eventually getting rid of it because I never got around to it, because I was told you can just take basically 2 of the poly barrels and put the little one inside the big one with water, and it'll basically inflate. And when you want to increase pressure, you just throw like a barbell on top of the other barrel and push more pressure down, and you can make it that simple. But I just you can't do everything, I guess is what I'm getting at. Like, not everybody can do everything. People have to pick and choose what they do.
Yeah.
Most of these units come with a dual burner, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to put whatever you're going to put in there, whether it be your feces or animal or anything that'll break down. But they have different sizes. They're running whole orphanages and boys' homes and stuff off of these things. But it's like a big waterbed mattress. But I think the cool way to do it would be put it in a big row house, set your row house taller, and then put a deck over it so you can still use the inside of that row house for raised beds or carts or growing space.
Yeah.
That way you still have that temperature gain in the winter, so it'll kick it off faster.
Sounds like a workshop in the making.
Yeah.
Biogas heated greenhouse.
Yep.
Yeah.
You totally could, because they say you're getting 2 to 4 hours out of those small ones per day. Now, where is that, right? And what season is that? So I'm sure it's going to slow down drastically in the winter. But I mean, if you had something, it would definitely assist if you're already heating a space.
Yeah.
The key with greenhouses, if you want an effective heated greenhouse, is to have basically like draperies on the inside. And when the sun goes down, right before the sun goes down, those close.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is amazing. I don't care if you use double paneled poly or whatever. It is amazing how fast temperature equalizes once that sun goes down. And I've seen some really cool. I saw one that Bob Wells was teaching at with the biochar stuff down in North Carolina. I can't remember the farm, but they had like a 1.5 acre greenhouse, And it was all automated. And as soon as the sun was starting to go down, like all of these things would just close up. And they were heating with residual heat off the biochar kiln. And they had taken pipes a foot deep in the greenhouse. And so this greenhouse was like a farm greenhouse. So they were growing in the soil, not in pots and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And they were pumping this heated water into the ground all day long. And then it was only happening when the biochar was being made, which is during the day. So it only happened in the daytime. Then the shit closed at night. And the coldest that it got in there through their winter, it's North Carolina, so it freezes, was 52 degrees. And the soil temperature never went below 64.
Nice.
So they're growing peppers perennially. So every year they just prune the peppers back and they just explode. There's several plants that they're growing as perennials that we grow as annuals because they're perennials, but
not here.
Not for us, right? But if you can keep peppers warm, they're a bush. They're a short life perennial that generally lives 5 to 9 years. So think about how quick you're to market if you're doing something like that. Mm-hmm. Even if you're not picking peppers in January, all you got to do is keep the plant alive. All you got to do is keep the plant alive, and then when spring comes, you have this immediate explosive growth.
Man, you could sit out. You could sit out in the snow and drink coffee while your toucans fly around in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have freaking a 1.5 acre one. I'd have freaking banana trees and shit growing in there.
Yeah, lorikeets and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, birds, definite birds. Yep. I was gonna put parakeets in my aviary, and then I just felt like a dick. And I'm like, my buddies like they'll make it through the winter. I'm like, I don't think they will.
Man, we go to there's a zoo about an hour from here, and you walk in, and they got an enormous row house that just kind of meanders around, and it's got hundreds of parakeets, like budgies, and they just fly around in flocks. Man, they fly right into you like locusts.
Yeah, Fort Worth Zoo has that too, and you can for like $1 buy this little stick with some millet on it, and you walk in with one of those, and they envelop you. It's like being in The Birds from Alfred Hitchcock, all over you, and everybody wants those little seeds. So I made up a bunch of them last time we went and had them in my pocket. They all look the same. They don't know.
Yeah, so when you go to the drive-through zoo, as soon as you get in there, the first thing is these zebras are here, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the one's like, hey, feed me. So you put the bucket out, and his buddy runs up, grabs the bucket, throws it on the ground, and then looks at you like, what are you going to do? I'm like, Amanda, you better get out of the truck and go get that bucket. So we just take our own bag of sweet feed.
We have a place like that in South Texas where they have the zebras and shit, but the ones that come to the truck first are ostriches.
Yep, and
they stick their heads like like if the person on the passenger seat has it, like you got this ostrich neck across it. What are you gonna? It's an ostrich. You're not gonna fight it off or whatever.
Yeah, and they know, man. They grab that bucket and they just throw it right out on the ground and just look at you.
Don't mess with a zebra; he'll bite your arm off, man.
Yeah, I saw that.
I used to read all of the books by like the guys that hunted Africa back when you could do the Big Five and all, like back in the late 1800s, like Roosevelt's time up to Rourke and Capstick's time. And Robert Rourke used to hunt with today probably still the most famous African hunter, Harry Selby. And the closest those two guys ever came to dying was a zebra. They shot it. He wanted another rug for his trophy room or whatever. They shot the zebra. And then all the boys that were like part of the camp that did all the porting and stuff like that, they were all Muslims. So they had to halal the zebra. So they want the zebra to be a little bit alive. Dude goes out, cuts its throat, and then it's okay to eat. So dude does the thing. Zebra's dead. They walk up, poke the zebra with the rifle in the eye to make sure it doesn't move. Everything's good. They're standing there talking. The kid goes down to gut it or whatever, and the zebra gets up and comes right at him, and they've got the rifle between the two of them, like they're holding a chin-up bar, fighting the zebra off. They can't turn it, and it's on top of them, flailing its hooves and trying to bite him in the face. And one of the boys runs to the car, gets a gun, loads it, runs back, sticks it in the zebra's ear, and blows its head off. He got promoted that day. And everybody else like just left him and just hauled ass. Like, fuck it, we're going to die. These guys hunted lions, leopards, freaking Cape buffalo, elephants. And the thing that almost killed them was the zebra. And in the book, he talks about how once it dies, it's laying on top of them. They got this like 500-pound zebra laying on them.
Oh, no.
And they started like, because you're so adrenaline so high and all, you realize I'm not going to die. They both start laughing.
Yeah.
And if they're laughing, the fucking zebra's on his shoulder. It looks like the zebra's laughing with him and shit. And then they have this big long conversation about how it doesn't matter what kills you, it matters that you get killed. And I think there's a lesson for preppers in that, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you got killed because the zombie apocalypse came or because you were fucking stupid and you didn't think you needed to worry about safety when you climbed up a fucking tree, with no thought of what you were doing because you were going to top it and the top of the tree spins around and knocks you the fuck on the ground. Either way, you're dead.
Yep.
There's a bunch of zebras for sale around you, Jack. There's a bunch of them.
We have some right here. There's a event venue behind me that do weddings and shit, and they have 2 zebras and some other shit over there. I told my wife, if you want a zebra or a giraffe, go look at them.
5 to 7, 5 to 7, and then when they're young, they'll bond kind of with one person. So you'll have one person that they're very friendly with. Is
that the dude that got his arm taken off? Was he very friendly with his?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. We had a kangaroo get out about 15 minutes up the road here, and they were chasing it around, and somebody ended up shooting this guy's kangaroo.
Oh wow, I can understand though. I mean, a kangaroo can jack you up, man. Like, they've got
some leg strength. Gardens for Life has given us each a super chat, so thank you.
Gardens for Life
mentions the euro is worth a little more than the US dollar, but inflation is hitting hard over here. Cars and construction material doubled.
Yep.
Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah. Our material, our least costly rolled goods material went up $3 a yard, right? It went from like $8 up to $11. And our shipping, we used to bring, when a semi truck would come in, it was about $250 to $300 for a pallet of rolled fabric, and we're $850 now. And then our thread cost goes up 10% every other month and has been for over 2 years now.
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah.
Just in case you wonder why prices are going up.
Yeah.
From the manufacturers.
Everything. My electricity bill's up almost $600.
Yeah. Okay. You know what it's time for, right? This is our Chinese fortune of the show.
Oh, okay.
Don't let unexpected situations throw you.
In bed.
I was waiting
it works for all of them.
Delay is the deadliest form of denial.
In bed. Oh, that one works way too good. I had to let that sink in.
Yep. You're the one who said it, not me.
Yeah. Hey,
John's like, I'm just going to shut up.
I don't make the rules. I just follow them. That was something, I don't know where it originally came from, but I remember we used to do that when we were teenagers and stupid, of course, because then everything's funny. But I remember that, like where I grew up, we had 2 restaurants. One was called the Blue Tavern, and the other was, I don't even remember what it was called, it was a Chinese place. That was the only 2 restaurants in the county. There were, like, if you don't count McDonald's or Coney Island or something like that.
Right.
And so, like, the Blue Tavern was like where you got dressed up nice and shit. It was like a country club without a golf course. And the Chinese place, of course, is where then we would eat either that or like a slice of pizza from the mall or something. And so we used to get their cookies all the time. And somebody came up with that, and it was in bed or under the sheets. And it was and like you try to break it and it doesn't break. I've never seen one that didn't work for it.
Yeah. Okay. One last one. Focus on your long-term goal. Don't hesitate to act now.
Not going to say it. I actually like that one, though. That's pretty good lifestyle design advice.
Yeah.
Focus on your long-term goals, but get shit done today.
Yeah.
My 3 things, right, Nicole?
Exactly. Well, I mean, we're heading into Exit and Build Land Summit in like a week.
Yeah, we
should totally talk about that. And I was like, I'm kicking off day 2, right? So I'm setting the stage for homesteading day. And I started realizing on this morning, like, I see people have a goal and they go for that goal for 2 months, and then they change that goal and they go for that goal for 2 months. And what they're doing is going right and left and right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And really where they want to be is up here.
Yeah.
When you have a goal up there and you act now, you may have a circuitous route, but as long as you're always moving towards that goal, you eventually get there.
Yeah, there's a lot of 10% on this thing and then 10% on that thing and then 10% on this thing and then 5% on that thing. Instead of let's do one thing 100% and let's do another thing and let's do another thing. And I'm bad about that.
We're all bad at it.
Because I'm a eccentric idea, OCD type person. I think I'm anti-OCD, actually. Because an OCD person would latch onto the thing and just do it.
And never let it go.
And never let it go until it's like beat to death. Like, oh, I want to try to this. And then you drop this thing and go do it. But I've been trying to be a lot better about that myself. I actually picked up a line for my presentation on biochar that same day, Nicole, which is there is no way to do it wrong, but there is a way to do it poorly. Because in the end, if you got biochar, you didn't do it wrong. But I tried a suggestion yesterday with a cone kiln that totally doesn't work. Well, it works. It just works poorly. I contribute an awful lot of smoke to the atmosphere, which is the exact opposite of what you want to do.
Oops.
Which was fill the shit out of it and light it from the top like a top lid up. Yeah, don't do that with a cone kiln.
Well, now you know that does not work
use
very
a
well.
A quarter grill tank of propane to keep it going and get it to fucking go. And don't do that.
Isn't it Joel Salatin who said anything worth doing is worth doing poorly at first?
Yeah, I agree. But if somebody else already did it, you don't have to.
That's also true. So, yeah.
But we people should come down to Exit and Build. My understanding is there's like 16 VIP tickets left.
Yeah,
and the
not many.
Tickets are the cool ones. I leaked this yesterday. I almost didn't want to because then people will come, into our space. But if you're VIP, you can get into the green room and talk to people like us when we're not presenting.
Yep, and that's a nice perk, I think.
That's one of many nice perks. You also get to go to the VIP dinner, which I know nothing about what it's going to be this year. But I know you missed out. I know you missed out not coming to Exit and Build. Not Exit and Build. What's the other one? Greater Reset. Because KSC Cattle catered that. I've never seen that many people eat that much beef and still have that much beef left over in my life, and nobody could move. It was unfreaking believable. So I don't know what he's got planned for
that
year.
Was just right over the top of a very important family trip.
I get it. That was unexpected. And then we got to meet JP Sears and Zuby. I don't know if he can top that this time around, but it was pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I don't know what his VIP plan is, but we'll find out.
We'll find out. That's part of the fun.
It is part of the fun.
Zuby here in the States, he's from Canada, right?
Who?
Zuby. Is he from Canada?
From England.
He's from England, okay.
He's from England. He was raised in Saudi Arabia.
All right.
Yeah. He's a really intellectual guy. He has a degree in like quantum programming or some shit like that. And now he's a rap artist.
Yep.
He's also a cool dude. Like you can talk to him like a normal fucking person.
Well, yeah. The people who aren't like that, like you just don't want them at your events.
No.
Because they actually bring you down. That's what I like about all of these events is most of the speakers stay there. They talk to people. I just heard from Callie, John, that she's going to speak at Self-Reliance Festival.
Cool.
So that'll be something people aren't expecting. I'm looking forward to that talk.
Who's that?
Callie Blackwell. She stood up to the standard medical system when her son had cancer and did something that would not be popularly accepted as okay. And he was going to die, and he was a kid. Yeah. And he's in his 20s and married. So
good for her.
She's been on a crusade. So that's going to be a good one to hear about, I think.
She's here in Tennessee, Jack. You should have her on your show. I'll send you a link to this video right now.
Yeah.
Send her a link to my guest form.
I can send her a link to your guest form. I'm going to send her a link to the speaker form we have as well. So
my guest form is down right now, but it'll go back up. But there's another website you can probably figure out that this guest form is the same on.
Mm-hmm.
It might have a logo that looks something like that on it.
Yeah. Significant look. Gotcha.
Nice shirt, by the way, Nicole.
Bring back seventh generational thinking. Well, this morning I got up, and you know why, but the first thing I do when I get up is I leave and I go get exercise or else it won't get done. Yeah. And the way I get dressed currently is reach into the drawer and put on whatever it is. And I was like, well, that's actually a pretty good shirt for the show today. So we'll
awesome.
Be Bitcoin centered.
Awesome.
Yep.
So you're doing a hard 75, right?
75 hard. Yep.
So we're gonna get together down there in Bastrop. There's gonna be all these people drinking booze and all, and you're not permitted.
Nope.
The good news for you is I'll be your non-drinking buddy. I wouldn't call it when I'm doing a hard 75. I call it like a soft 60. Full carnivore, 1 exercise routine a day and alcohol for 6 days.
Oh, we'll be well matched. That's funny because I was like, as I thought about doing it,
Jack's gonna be sitting there with a fucking old fashioned on the back porch. Like
David's gonna be there mixing them. It's, and then I decided the hard 75.
Yeah,
it's putting yourself in those situations and making the right choice.
Because if you keep saying I'm going to do it after this thing, there'll always be another thing, right?
There's always another thing, and I was like, that's the first lesson that I'm learning, and so I'm just going to start. And so I just started. On no particular date, I was like, today's the day I start.
Yeah, Dorothy and I decided to do it as soon as the vacation was over because we were not going to drink in one country. I mean,
the purpose
of why we went there, we
can spit it out.
No.
No. Yeah. So somebody's on day 135. All right. So then John texted me this morning. He's like, "Get off your butt and go get a workout." And I was like, "Well, I was on my workout, so did it today."
Start the cold shower.
Day 30 is when you're going to be like, "Oh, I'm still doing this."
Start the cold shower.
Yeah.
Cold shower.
It's the next 30 days after the 75. Start fucking with the cold shower now. It gets easier. As you think your water's cold, it's not. When you're like, okay, I'm in here and I'm doing this, your shower does not get cold enough to do like ice bath kind of stuff. So start messing with it now. Just you can end it. It's called a Scottish shower. You can end with the cold, but once you do that, the next transition will be nothing for you. You don't have to take a full cold shower. Just work up to it, but you'll get to where you can just get in there and make it cold. If you're tired, get a cold shower. If you need more energy, get a cold shower. If you I'm telling you, it will change everything you're doing.
Did either of y'all ever read any of Brad Thor's books?
No.
So he has a character that's sort of a recurring character that's basically, I think every one of his books is the same guy, Scott Harvith. He's this secret agent type guy. And he always ends his shower by cracking it all the way to cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, James Bond did some of that too.
I used to do that after washing my hair because it closes up the I guess it's supposedly so you don't absorb more weird stuff in your hair. So
when I was in basic and we went and did our field exercise, it was about 38 degrees out and there was no heat for the water for the shower. And the drill sergeants were like, "I'm going to tell you that you use this and you're going to be in your 50s and you're still going to be taking cold showers like this." He was wrong.
I've heard you say that.
He was wrong. I will. First of all, I don't know what it is with women, but women take showers that I don't know how your skin doesn't peel off your body, the level of heat that you guys use.
It's funny because it's true.
I take the shower and I feel like I'm sitting in the living room and I can feel heat coming out of the bedroom from the heat from the shower. I'm like, how do you live in there? Right. So I take a pretty cool shower to begin with, and I will cut it down at the end, but I don't need to ever take 40-degree showers ever again. I'm good with that. I remember.
Yeah, I take my outdoor shower. I take with hot all the way on and no cold water. And I wondered why we even plumbed cold water there until I talked to other people who use my outdoor shower sometime. And they're like, "Oh, no, you got to mix cold water in, Nicole. Your water's too hot." And I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
not for me."
We
apparently
used to have an outdoor shower, and it was just there was no heat to it at all. In the summer, it felt great. But it eventually broke down. And now John, you haven't been here. We use these little tents with these little on-demand hot water, and they only get up to about 110. It's warm. It's not hot. And there's no adjustment. It's just on and off. And every time you push the button, the burner kicks in. They're freaking great. I need to put that on. What is wrong? I need to put those on T-Spaz.
Yeah, why haven't you?
That's dumb because they're a perfect prepper item. Because if you are in a grid down situation for a while and you need to take a shower, if you have a grill tank and water pressure, and water pressure could be a bag hanging up in a tree, and they don't use a lot of water because it's like you push the button and it's a light stream, but it's plenty to take a shower. I say that as all my guests are using them and I'm in my, steam shower. But I got to get those on T-Spaz, the little tents for them too.
So we have those at SRF, and we've learned 50 ways to break them, haven't we, John?
Yeah.
Something like
that.
You
need a JR. You need a JR.
We only had one down, I thought.
Yeah. I thought we broke two last winter by leaving them out.
No, one was broke. Well, maybe they were.
If you leave them out, they'll break.
Yeah.
They'll pop.
I left out my weed flamer while I was on vacation.
Oops.
I came back and it looked fine until I tried to ignite it. The igniter wouldn't ignite, and I pulled the cover off, and like the whole thing just fell apart. I guess it rained and like the whole piece. So I'm gonna have to see if I can solder some shit in there or something and fix it, or I'll just be lighting it with a Bic forever.
Man, we use for the weed torch, we use those weed dragons from Tractor Supply.
Yeah.
You got a cart, you put a barbecue tank on them. Those things work great.
That's what it's not the same brand, but it's what I've got. I mean, it's like, you feel like you're in World War II fucking hitting pillboxes with it. But I bought it mostly I put down weed blocker in the gardens this year, and you heat up that bell at the end of it, and it melts a perfect hole in the weed blocker. But every time you do it, it goes out. So that's why you stick it, because you don't flame it or it'll just incinerate the blocker. Basically, you flame the shit out of it and get it really hot, and you can make about 2 or 3 holes, and you got to do it again. Well, every time you touch it, it goes out, so you have to constantly relight it. So that's why I got the automatic ignition thing on it for an extra $10, and then I fucked it up.
Yeah, Strongest Resources says add a shut off and a drain. That's what I did for mine. Drain it after each use in cold weather. He lives off grid, so
well, we thought my guy. I had a guy living here, so he was using that as his shower, and he was supposed to be disconnecting them. I don't know why they popped. I would suspect there obviously had to still be water in there for there to be an issue with it.
Now, I had a friend who used it next door, and he left it out all winter, drained, and something on the internals popped because there was like a little bit of water in a little U-shaped thing, and he was able to find the part and fix it. But yeah, I don't know. I just opened my hip camp again, which has been closed for 2 years because John's seen like all of the work we've done here.
Yeah.
Involved a lot of heavy equipment, which does not make a pleasant camping experience.
No,
come to my mud farm.
Yeah, and you hear beep.
It's Saturday. So we put in the micro swales last year, and the food forest is looking pretty good, and the grass is coming back. And I was like, okay, the spring workshop's over. We'll open the hip camp again. And now I'm like, but they're going to use my outdoor shower, and then I have to see them.
Yeah.
How about we get one of those and put it in the back 40, and then they can shower back there, and I don't have to see them if I don't want to. So I was talking to Tactical about how we want to do that today.
Yeah. I'm on a land hunt again because that's kind of one of the things I want to do is run something like that.
Yeah.
A wall tent's a deck and a shower, and you're in pretty good shape, man. And, if you can get $40-$50 a night for that.
Yeah.
I
do bring your own tent or hammock. And then we've got the composting outhouses. We've got access to my outdoor kitchen, which is over there where I don't have to see people. And we have it. I'm going to get a shower back there. So we may start collecting rainwater off the outhouse roof and use that for the shower, and just sort of, it's a whole system.
Yeah.
People like that stuff. So
aluminum gutters.
Yes.
Aluminum gutters. Fuck poly gutters.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you can just have a guy come and show up, and he'll make your gutters so they're seamless.
Yeah.
You're having them do all the main ones. And whatever they say you need, if they say 4, do 6. If they tell you 6, make everything bigger.
Yeah. We put it on my back shop, and there was no good place to mount them. So what I did is I took 2x6 pressure-treated wood under the eave of the corrugated roof, and I went through the roof and attached it, and that gave me a surface to put the gutters on. But the guy at Lowe's talked me into poly. It'll last even longer. No, it doesn't.
No, it bends.
Yeah,
it's droopy, and then you don't want droopy gutters, do you, Jack?
I'm getting half the rain catch off the roof and losing the other half to the shitty gutters, so that needs to be replaced. I'll probably pay somebody to do it because the time I would spend doing it, I could spend in my business and make a hell of a lot more money than it'll cost to have somebody do it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's always my decision. One is it something aesthetic that I'm not going to be good at, that I'm going to have to look at forever and wish I didn't do it? I hire a guy. Or can I make more money focusing on what I do than I will save? And in both of those instances, if the answer is yes, then I pay somebody to do it.
Somebody wants you to hit them up, Jack, with land. I'm going to suggest they email you, Jack,
yes,
at survivalpodcast.com, and that's more likely to work.
Cato, that might be close enough. I want to keep it within 3 hours.
Yeah. He's a land surveyor, or she.
Yeah, I had land that was about 5 hours away, and we barely ever got there because that turns it into you have to do overnight. Like 3 hours, I could leave really early on a Saturday, go put 6-8 hours of work in on a place, and be home.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
STOS has been on your show, Jack.
Yeah, I know him.
He presented at our area. When I need to know something about anything around here, I ask him, and he's not even here. But he's got all the sites and can pull everything up. He knows when I've got a storm coming. He knows if I'm in a flood zone. He's got everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you need a pocket STOS, like a pocket.
No, I need him to just move here. Is what I need.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we'll work on that.
Let's see how far Caddo is. I think Caddo's a bit far.
All of a sudden, you got Jack's attention.
Yeah, I think that's way out east. Yeah, that's 4 hours, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It'd have to be a really, really smoking deal because I'm thinking more in the 3-hour range. That 3-hour range is about where you could, like I said, realistically spend a day there and be home that night. Because, as you know, when you run a homestead, Nicole, overnight is a whole different.
It's a whole different.
Wax, right?
I'm very lucky that a redneck lives here because when I go out of town, I'm like, "Are you still going to be here?" And he's like, "Yes." I don't want to ever leave, Nicole. And I say, "Okay, I'm just making sure because, so having somebody on site's huge."
I constantly think about having like a couple dump trucks come in, fill my failed pond. It'd be a great building site. Fill in with like road base, really cheap. It'd be dead solid because it's sitting on fucking limestone.
Yeah.
Putting in a tiny house and having somebody rent it that's also kind of an overseer.
Yeah.
A bunkhouse. Yep.
Because that would be great. If you just have like a couple of the dogs out and in a few times a day and, for short trips. Long trips, I have a guy named Michael that takes care of my place when we're gone. He's been here to build everything. So when something breaks, he knows how to fix it.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Both he and his wife are great.
But a weekend, I would be fine leaving it for a weekend if somebody would just keep everything from dying.
Yeah. Well, I find like it used to be when I would get a farm sitter, an animal's going to die if I go out of town because something's going to go wrong. It was as if raccoons waited outside the chicken coop and they knew I was gone. And then boom, chicken dead. And it would be first day, really upset house sitter. Your chicken was dead. And I'm like, yeah, that's raccoon. It hurts my feelings when that happened. I mean, that doesn't happen here anymore, but it used to happen. And now that we have sheep, like that's a big deal if one goes down. And the thing is, we're looking at them every day. We know if somebody's acting weird, so we know if there's an intervention that we can do or not do. And I think somebody who's not familiar with your specific livestock has a harder time with that. So if you have somebody like Michael, that's awesome.
Plus, if you have animals that will eat other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's John's approach. I just have animals that will eat people, and then we're good.
Yeah,
and
that makes it hard having somebody take care of them for you, though, John.
Wait till I get the lions, man.
I'm waiting. I can't wait for you to get the lions. There'll be a lion tour on the Self-Reliance Festival agenda.
I'm surprised John hasn't just to fuck with people gotten like 2 of the great big tawny colored chow dogs and had them. Shit. Have you ever seen that? When people do that, they shave. You look at it, you're like, holy fuck. Oh, okay. Like it fucks with you for a second.
Yep.
That would be funny. Hey, Jack, conspiracy theory time. The WHO just revamped the rules for the New World Order.
What does that mean?
Yeah, expand.
I care because I've gotten to where I don't care what they do anymore. Fuck them.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm doing what I want to do. The older you get, the more willing you are to say, I'll sit on my roof with a rifle. Like, I only have so much to lose, man. God help you when I'm 85.
Yeah.
No,
that's always been true throughout history, hasn't it?
That's true. Where are all those angry guys with nothing to lose?
Yeah. You might find out if the shit keeps going the way that it is, man. I mean, why do you think they attack the youth? Because they want to get rid of that last generation of old people, and they're always like just 2 generations away from that. And they've been whittling it and whittling it and whittling it and whittling it down,
It's interesting because they do that, right? So you'll end up with a whole generation of pussies, basically. And then the generation behind them sees that and they're like, well, this is crap. I'm going to go do. So I like the kids who are youngest right now are the ones I'm seeing stand up. I'm seeing the ones there actually stand up and have a backbone. And I'm like, cool.
Yeah,
I don't always agree with what they have a backbone about, but I'm like, they've watched a whole generation just roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, well, that's crap. That doesn't work well.
Crusty Gen Xers just crapping on their parents. They're like, well, I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
But we'll see, because they're being beaten down every freaking day. You know, when all this crap with all this transgenderism in the schools started, I said, this is the hill Democrats want to die on. And people told me I was overreacting and all. And I'm like, okay, where are you now? Like, look at what they're doing at this point. It's freaking, somebody just had a report out of what the 3 biggest hospitals in North Carolina. And the largest hospital in North Carolina says it's willing to start gender transition therapy at the age of 2.
Yep.
2. I will end you.
Yeah, wait till a father gets hold of those doctors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be a good fiction book series in the future.
But what's going to happen is, if somebody actually does it, then they're going to vilify everybody who opposes it as you're terrorists, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The modus operandi of everything. Everything's terrorism. Everything's white supremacist. Everything's racist. Everything's sexist. Everything's misogynistic.
And there'll be kiddie porn found on your computer.
Oh, and they'll do that. I don't know if you know, they actually tried to do that to Ron Paul.
Oh, I have no doubt.
They tried to do it, it was like 10 years ago, and one of his IT people figured out that they were trying to do it. Like, they had sent him like an email, and it would have loaded if he had opened the email or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, never open emails that are like invoice here.
Yeah.
So
somebody you're not expecting an invoice from.
We get those every day.
The Norton ones.
We've been getting all kinds of invoices from places.
Yeah.
That we don't open any of that shit. But we do. I got one yesterday that came through Dropbox. Somebody sent me some shit through Dropbox who we didn't know, and I don't have a forward-facing Dropbox that we've ever put out there. So be aware of it.
Yeah, it's very important.
The number one distributor of child porn is the FBI.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean Ryan is out of Nashville, ex-team guy, CIA dude. He had an interview with a hacker. It went live yesterday, as a matter of fact. It's 2.5 hours. While they were live, they were in a chat room, and posing as a 13-year-old girl, and a dude, they had a guy on the line they caught within 15 seconds of logging into these things.
Yeah. Yeah, and I always kind of push back on the whole Hollywood pedophiles and everything like that and all that. But then I started thinking about it, this is a major industry, and this is not this kind of sickness. If you're importing children from another country or whatever, it's not something that a guy that lives in a trailer park generally could afford. So it has to be wealthy people that are driving this, right? Because people only do things in the grand scheme of things for money.
Well, it's the same. Why don't you have Epstein lists, right? Because the people who would push it are on that list. And it's the same thing. Look at all the X's and the dots, right? Look at your vehicles, especially women, when you come out of the grocery store, in the top corners of your windshield or on the door handle, right? They're putting zip ties on door handles. On the back of your windscreen or the front windshield, they're putting little dots or they're putting little X's on that. That signifies that you're a woman by yourself or how many children that you have. Look at the kind of people that go missing in the United States. There's all kinds of crazy shit happening right now, and it's happening out rural, right? Nicole, you and I have a friend, and she just had some weird shit happen at her house in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. And which is not unexpected. I think at some point weird shit starts happening.
Yeah, I think you just need to be prepared for that at all times, right? Have the solution with you when somebody tries to throw you in a van. What are you going to do?
Always fun. That's why I'm taking that class, John.
Yes, and that's a great class to take.
So. Okay, well, I know Jack needs to skedaddle because he's got Guy Swan on in about half an hour. So let's go once around the horn. Jack, tell us about that. Anything else you want to?
Sure. So while I was on vacation, Guy made some comments about the direction of Nostr on Nostr. And I'm like, dude, you want to come on? He's like, yeah. So I'm going to have Guy Swan on today for my episode of Survival Podcast and Bitcoin Breakout. So it'll be a duel on both channels. And that is all available if you want to be part of that right here on my channel, if you're on my YouTube channel, or you can go to tspclive.com livingfreeintennessee.com, and that'll always show you the next upcoming live stream, and that's already up there. And I do a show 5 days a week when I'm not on vacation. Rewinds are coming next week because we're going to Exit and Build. There's still time to come. Please think about coming to Exit and Build. It'd be great if you went. I'm sure, Nicole, you have a link on your site too, or I have a link. I'll go through one of our links so we get credit for that. But we'd love you to come hang out with us, and we will do some after-hours stuff, even though Nicole and I will not be drinking.
Correct. I'll be drinking tea. John, what do you got?
Soda lime.
I do a live every night at 9 o'clock on YouTube. I'm super easy to find. We have all kinds of content. We do shirts. We do nylon tactical gear. We have a lot of lifestyle conversation. So join in, and 9 o'clock every night right on this YouTube channel.
All right, guys. I've got a podcast, Living Free in Tennessee. You can get information on that at livingfreeintennessee.com. And I am going to talk a lot about my 75 hard journey in short, because when I talk about stuff publicly, then I'm an ass if I don't follow through with what I'm doing. If you want to join me on this challenge, let's get it going, man. I'm doing it to change my life. I'm doing it to get more mentally disciplined and to make the hard decisions when I have to, because I think it's foundational to success. So it's not, for me, it's not just a fitness thing. It's more mental than anything else, because I realized I am my biggest barrier to success, and I'm the one thing I can control. So that's like awesome. And it's free, guys. It's free to do. What I'd like to highlight today, though, is that we've got a 0 to Hero radio operator course put on by Evan Dixon of Radio Made Easy at Self-Reliance Festival. It's Thursday and Friday before Self-Reliance Festival. That's October 12th and 13th at the Special Operations Equipment Compound. Tickets are on sale now for $545. That's $100 off through August 1st, and then they go up. So grab your tickets while you can. It's 2 full days of class. You get lunch. It's going to be a fantastic course. If you're hearing the audio, that's at selfreliancefestival.com. Click on tickets, and you will see 0 to Hero radio operator course. Anyway, thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
That also gives you